Rejection, a word that carries pain, frustration, and often a sense of inadequacy. Who hasn't felt that tightness in their chest when being left aside, ignored, or simply not recognized? Rejection can come in many forms, in love, at work, in friendships, or even within the family. But here's the truth the Stoics have known for centuries. Rejection is not the end, but the beginning of something greater. Marcus Aurelius Seneca and Epictetus didn't just face rejections, they turned them into fuel to become unshakable. And that's exactly what you're going to learn today. In this video, you'll discover 10 powerful Stoic teachings to transform rejection into one of the most constructive forces in your life. Get ready, because after hearing this, you'll never see a no the same way again. Before we start, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Now let's dive into the teachings. Teaching 10, Rejection reveals what isn't meant for you. Rejection, for many, is seen as a closed door, as if something has been unfairly taken from their hands. But the Stoics taught that nothing that is truly yours can be lost. What is truly yours remains. What wasn't simply moves on. Marcus Aurelius said we must accept serenely what life brings us, because fate is wiser than our fleeting desires. When someone rejects you, it doesn't mean you have no value. It simply means that thing wasn't part of your journey. Imagine a traveler who insists on entering a blocked road, not realizing there is another, safer, and more fruitful one just ahead. Rejection works exactly like that. It takes away the burden of insisting on something that didn't fit your path. How many times in life have you looked back and thought, I'm so glad that didn't work out? In that moment, it seemed like the end of the world, but today you recognize it was a deliverance. That's how rejection should be seen, not as punishment, but as direction. Epictetus reminded us that we have no control over others, only over our own actions. If someone didn't want you in their life, project, or path, there's no reason to despair. That's just the nature of things adjusting. The Stoics believed that everything happens according to universal reason, in the natural order of things. Therefore, rejection is not an accident. It's part of this order. You haven't lost anything, you've simply been redirected, and it's precisely this redirection that should bring you peace. Because if it wasn't meant to be, it's better it's removed quickly, before it drains your energy, time, and expectations. Rejection clears the ground, eliminates what doesn't serve, and prepares you for what truly has value. The next time you're rejected, don't ask, why did this happen to me? Ask, what is this rejection protecting me from? Where is it directing me? This simple shift in perspective will turn your pain into wisdom. Because in the end, rejection takes nothing from you. It only reveals that what you thought was yours never truly was. Teaching 9. Rejection is an opportunity for strengthening. Rejection hurts, there's no denying that. But it's precisely this pain that shapes the character of those who choose to learn from it. Epictetus said that it's not the events that hurt us, but the judgment we make of them. This means rejection is not by itself a mortal blow. It only becomes destructive when you interpret it as defeat. If instead you see it as training, it becomes your greatest ally. Each no you receive is like a weight you lift in the gym of life. At first it's painful, it feels unbearable, but the more you endure, the stronger you become. Rejection is a constant exercise in resilience, a test to prove how far you can go, how willing you are to strengthen yourself. Imagine a soldier in training. He falls, makes mistakes, is harshly corrected, but each failure prepares him for the real battle. Rejection is the same, preparation for bigger challenges. If you can't learn to withstand small no's, how will you face the major falls life will inevitably bring? Rejection strengthens you because it exposes your fragility. It shows you where you need to grow, what you need to improve, and most importantly, how capable you are of rising again. And every time you rise, you prove to yourself that you are more resilient than you thought. When someone closes a door, it doesn't mean all doors are closed. It just means you need to knock on other ones. And with each door you knock on, with each negative response, your shell becomes firmer, your mind more prepared, your soul more resilient. True strength doesn't come from acceptance, but from refusal. It's in adversity that character is forged. So every time someone rejects you, thank them in silence, because there lies a new chance to become unbreakable. Teaching 8. Rejection is a mirror of the ego. The pain of rejection, most of the time, doesn't lie in the fact itself, but in the blow it delivers to our ego. The human pride wants to be accepted, recognized, and valued. When this doesn't happen, we feel as if something has been torn from inside us. But according to the Stoics, rejection is an opportunity to confront the ego and realize it is not what should guide our emotions. Seneca said that those who seek approval from others become slaves. And there is no heavier slavery than constantly depending on external validation to feel whole. Rejection, therefore, is a sharp blow to pride. It exposes how much you still depend on others' opinions to feel sufficient. This mirror may be painful, but it's necessary. It shows whether you live for who you are or for who others want you to be. When you feel crushed by rejection, the truth is that it wasn't the person who rejected you who caused the pain. It was your wounded ego, unable to accept being contradicted. But there is liberation in this process. When you learn to see rejection without letting your ego dominate, you discover that true value doesn't come from outside. You don't need external acceptance to have dignity, to have value, to have purpose. Rejection shows, like a reflection in a mirror, how much pride still resides within you. And by realizing this, you can begin to let go, to build a life guided by reason and virtue, not by the incessant desire to be accepted. The ego cries with rejection, but the soul grows. Teaching 7. Rejection is an invitation to self-knowledge. Few things force us to look inward as intensely as rejection. When you are rejected, there are no more distractions. You are faced with yourself with all your weaknesses exposed. Epictetus said, "If you want to improve, accept seeming foolish and ignorant." And rejection is exactly that, the opportunity to see yourself without masks. Instead of asking, "Why didn't they like me?" to ask, "What is this situation teaching me about myself?" Rejection can reveal blind spots, show where you need to grow, in which areas of your life there is still insecurity, where your heart still seeks external acceptance. It also reveals your hidden strengths. Often you only discover how much you are capable of enduring when you are put to the test. Rejection is that test, that brutal invitation to explore corners of your soul that would otherwise remain hidden. The self-knowledge born from rejection is powerful because it is real. It is not built on praise or approval, but on falls and disappointments. It is in the pain that you know your true self, the one who resists, the one who rises, the one who is not defined by the gaze of others. Rejection is a harsh but fair teacher. It never comes without bringing a deep lesson. Those who accept this invitation to look inward emerge wiser and more conscious. Teaching 6. Rejection teaches you not to depend on others. Emotional dependence is an invisible prison. When you need someone's recognition to feel happy, you hand over your freedom into someone else's hands. The Stoics rejected this emotional slavery. For them, true happiness did not depend on external circumstances, but on the quality of thoughts. Rejection in this sense is liberating. It shows painfully that you cannot place your peace in others' acceptance, because if you do, you will always live vulnerably, always at the mercy of others' choices and opinions. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts." This means that even in the face of rejection, you can remain at peace, because your mind, your virtue, and your essence remain intact. When someone rejects you, it's as if life is saying, "Look, you were relying too much on something unstable. It's time to support yourself." It's painful, but it's also a call to self-sufficiency. From the moment you understand this, rejection stops being an open wound and transforms into liberation. You realize you don't need everyone to accept you. You just need to accept yourself and walk firmly. Those who learn not to depend on others become invincible. Teaching 5. Rejection shapes your discipline. Discipline is the art of not giving up, even when everything seems to conspire against you. And rejection is often the hardest test of this discipline. Imagine an artist who sends his work several times and receives only refusals. He could give up, believe he has no talent. But if he has a stoic mind, he will use each no as fuel to improve his technique, to dedicate himself more, to refine his art until it can't be ignored. The Stoics understood that life is a training ground. Marcus Aurelius said, "Stop worrying about what others think. Just do your work as a man." This means that discipline must be above others' opinions. When you are rejected, it is not an invitation to stop, but to persist with even more determination. Rejection shapes you because it forces you to choose between giving up or continuing. If you give up, the path ends there. But if you continue, you discover a strength within you that you didn't know existed. It's like a muscle. The more it is tested, the stronger it grows. There is no true discipline without resistance, and there is no resistance without rejection. Therefore, each refusal, each closed door, each dismissive look is in fact a secret training life offers you. If you learn to accept it, you will emerge more disciplined, more consistent, and more prepared for lasting victories. Rejection doesn't defeat you. It simply asks, are you willing to pay the price of discipline? Teaching 4. Rejection proves your courage. Many believe that courage is never feeling fear. But the Stoics knew that courage is acting despite fear. And let's face it, one of the greatest sources of human fear is precisely rejection. The fear of not being accepted, of not being loved, of not being recognized. When you expose yourself knowing you may be rejected, you are exercising courage. You are facing risk, accepting vulnerability. And when you are actually rejected, you prove that you survived what you most feared. Seneca said, "It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare. It is because we do not dare that they are difficult." Rejection shows that you dared. You didn't hide, you didn't live in the shadow of fear. You threw yourself out there, took risks, and that is already a victory. Each rejection you face is an invisible medal that proves your courage, because most people prefer not to try, prefer not to expose themselves, prefer to live small to avoid the pain of being refused. You, on the other hand, have the courage to put yourself on the line even knowing you may lose. Rejection doesn't diminish your courage. It confirms it. If you need anything else, feel free to ask. Teaching 3. Rejection reveals who is truly by your side. Rejection doesn't only push opportunities away, but also people. When you go through moments of rejection, you realize who stays by your side and who disappears. This is one of the greatest hidden gifts it brings. Epictetus said, "Associate with those who make you better." But how do you know who truly makes you better? Rejection answers that. Because when you are rejected and seem weakened, false friends move away, opportunists disappear, and the superficial lose interest. Only those who truly care remain, those who aren't by your side for what you have but for who you are. This filter is precious. It shows the truth about your relationships. Rejection reveals who was by your side out of convenience and who is there out of loyalty. Therefore, when you feel the pain of rejection, look around. Who is still there, holding your hand, supporting your choices, reminding you of your worth? These are the people who truly matter, the ones who should remain in your life. Rejection may take many, but it never takes the true ones. Teaching 2. Rejection strengthens your inner freedom. One of the greatest teachings of Stoicism is the pursuit of inner freedom. This freedom means not being a slave to circumstances, opinions, or external desires. Rejection, when understood, is one of the quickest paths to this freedom. Marcus Aurelius stated, "If something external torments you, it is not that thing that disturbs you, but the judgment you make of it." Rejection is exactly that, an external event. What truly causes pain is the meaning you give it. When you overcome rejection, you discover that no one has power over your inner peace. Not words, not looks, not closed doors. You understand that your mind is a sovereign territory, and only you can decide whether you will be free or a prisoner of circumstances. This freedom is unbreakable, because if you no longer fear rejection, what could stop you? You become independent of applause, immune to criticism, firm in the face of refusals. Rejection doesn't imprison you. It teaches you that you were free from the start. Teaching 1. Rejection opens the way for what is truly yours. Finally, the greatest Stoic lesson on rejection is simple and powerful. Everything that is truly yours will never be lost. What is lost was never yours, and rejection is just the natural process that removes what was not meant to stay. Seneca said, "No wind blows in favor of those who don't know where they are going." Rejection is the wind that changes your course. That forces you to go in another direction, perhaps one you would never have chosen on your own, but one that is right. The stories of great people are marked by rejections. Writers rejected dozens of times, failed entrepreneurs, ignored artists, but each no was just a detour that led them to the true yes. Rejection deep down is not loss, it is redirection. It is clearing the path, pushing away what doesn't serve, making room for what is truly yours. When you understand this, rejection will stop being a burden and become a blessing in disguise. Because by closing one door, it is simply opening another, the one that leads exactly to the destiny that has always been yours. Subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and share this video with someone who also needs to learn how to use rejection as an ally. And to prove that you've made it this far and that you're committed to transforming your pain into wisdom, write the word force in the comments. That way I'll know that you are part of those who don't run away from rejection, but turn it into fuel to win.